In geopolitics, it is known as an intermediate power to states that cannot be considered a world power, but still have significant international influence, and can also be considered small powers within their respective regions. It's important to note that this term can be relative as there is no general consensus, so you may or may not agree with the countries on this list. Awaiting your feedback. Interested? Go ahead, watch the video till the end. Oceania and the South Pacific are often overlooked in global geopolitics. Or are you telling me that you've ever heard news about what's happening in the Solomon Islands or Fiji? Well, like every geographical region, there must also be a regional power here, and in this case, the country of the kangaroos takes this title. The fact is that the 13th largest economy in the world plays a crucial role in the fate of the small nations that surround it. In this video, we looked in more detail at how the Australian government has negatively influenced some neighboring countries in favor of its own interests, such as taking advantage of Nauru's phosphate until the country runs out of resources, or indiscriminately exploiting East Timor's oil resources in conjunction with Indonesia. After all, Australia has the approval of the Anglo-Saxon powers, the United States and the United Kingdom, with whom, by the way, they have created a military alliance known as Australia, United Kingdom, and United States to counteract the influence of the nearby superpower, China, with whom there have also been frictions. So we could say that Australia's status as a regional power could have been threatened by the relentless growth of the Asian giant. Do you think it will dethrone it? Neo-Ottomanism is a term we looked at in more detail in this video. And it is definitely at the top of the agenda of the current Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. As its name suggests, it refers to a resurgence of modern Turkey as a power, thus emulating the glorious past of the Ottoman Empire, which was for many centuries the main power of Islam. And although Turkey's economy is not at its best, having the 5th highest inflation in the world in 2023, Erdogan has certainly not skimped on the military budget to constantly intervene in countries that were formerly under the Ottoman sphere of influence. While Syria and Libya are the most representative cases, direct military intervention as occurred in these countries is not everything. His political weight also influences conflicts in Cyprus and the Caucasus, supporting the Republic of Northern Cyprus and Azerbaijan respectively. Likewise, he also leads his own regional bloc, the Organization of Turkic States, which includes several countries from the former Russian sphere of influence. Therefore, Erdogan has indeed known how to capitalize on the weakening of other powers to gradually achieve his neo-Ottoman dream. If we talk about theocracies, the most powerful and influential of our days is the Islamic Republic of Iran. Although it is only the 17th economy in the world, the religious influence of the Ayatollah shows us that money is not everything, especially within a region in which there's a lot of orthodoxy among its followers. Iran leads the so-called Axis of Resistance, an informal anti-Israel and consequently anti-United States alliance, in which there are only two states, Bashar al-Assad's Syria and Iran itself. However, there are also a series of paramilitary and jihadist groups in the states that are willing to fight on their side if the Ayatollah declares holy war. Hezbollah from Lebanon is probably the most powerful and relevant group, but there are also Hamas and the Islamic Jihad in Palestine, the Houthi in Yemen, the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, and several others. This alliance also has the political support of countries outside of Islam, such as Russia, China, Venezuela, and North Korea. So perhaps religion is just a facade, and the reality is that Iran leads the anti-American resistance in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia is the 19th largest economy in the world, and also the largest economy in the Arab world. Furthermore, it is the main petro-monarchy of the Arabian Peninsula, a region filled with black gold. Speaking of oil, Saudi Arabia leads Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, the organization of the countries that export the most oil on the planet, which gives it a vital influence on the global economy. Imagine a world without energy for production and transportation, right? This has helped Saudi Arabia to be able to make its own decisions without needing to align at all times with its supposed main allied power, the United States. In fact, flirtations with China have been found, so like the Turks, the Saudis can afford to play a double diplomacy. Another point to mention is the well-known Cold War that is taking place in the Middle East with the other intermediate power, Iran. Although the dispute continues essentially over the leadership of the Islamic world between Sunnis and Shiites, we all know that there are also political and economic components. The main proxy war is taking place in Yemen, where Saudi Arabia has had difficulties supporting the official government against the Houthi, supported by Iran, so its position as a regional power could be threatened. And to close today's video, we have an intermediate power. And to understand why I put it on this list, we must understand the concept of soft power. This refers to the ability of a state to influence other countries through cultural and ideological elements, and South Korea has certainly known how to handle its soft power. And it's that the endless lines of teenage fans in love with Bangtan boys who are willing to camp out days in advance to see their idols are not just good material for creating memes, but proof of the cultural influence they have managed to impose in Seoul. And this influence is not just regional like the other countries on this list, but global. All these people who experience Squid Game already have a positive image of South Korea in their subconscious, which is quite useful for their medium and long-term political goals. Likewise, if we talk about economy as such, South Korea is the 13th largest economy in the world, rubbing shoulders with world powers like Russia. So it won't be a surprise that at this rate South Korea will match its neighboring power, Japan. In conclusion, these have been the 5 intermediate powers of today. As you can see, these countries have achieved their status either through economic, political, religious, military influence, or perhaps using their soft or hard powers. And as already mentioned, the status of intermediate power can become a matter of controversy, because like everything in social sciences, they are relative concepts. But now, tell me, what other country do you think has the status of an intermediate power? Don't forget to leave your comment and subscribe to the channel. Also, I leave in the description my social networks, and in case you want to see the new videos in preview and have a greater interaction with me, your donations on Patreon, unamanito.net, or channel members are welcome. See you next time.